Okay, so I'm going to be doing some readings for the County of the Omer. So this is for the first day, so the Chesed, Shed Chesed. So permutations of the Sefirot. So this is the first day, so it's the permutation of one within inside the other. So loving love or love within love. So we open Sfirat Omer, and I'm sorry, this is coming from the book Sfirat Omer from Rabbi Alon Anava. So we open Sfirat Omer with the week of Chesed, a word connect. So this whole week is a permutation of Chesed, right? So a word connected with displaying kindness, the act of giving and expressing love. That's why we'll call this week the week of love. It's essential to learn how to love in order to give and receive love properly. This does not make us better people. It is also incredibly fulfilling. So think about experiencing feelings of love, whether it's feeling loved by someone else, loving someone back, or falling head over heels in love. Those moments are often some of the most profoundly rewarding experiences you can have. You can see this with people who are madly in love. They feel like they are on top of the world and nothing else matters. The world could explode and they wouldn't even know it. There's no feeling like it. So today is Chesed of Chesed, which translates as loving kindness of loving kindness. So this special day is not actually about learning how to give love, as one might assume by the definition of Chesed, which also means giving. That is, in fact, Gevura of Chesed. But today, on Chesed of Chesed, we have an opportunity to focus on learning how to cultivate love through developing the desire to give from a deep appreciation of who the person is. That's about creating emotion and sensitivity within oneself towards another. Through that, the desire to give emerges. And that just reminds me of actually like Tomer Devorah, when it teaches you how to deal with people that may make you upset in some way or another, like children maybe, or even other individuals and adults. Try to hold on to a memory of something about that person that you really, really like. and hold on to that and think, so you're concentrating on the good aspect of that person rather than a negative aspect of them in the moment. But anyway, it's about creating emotion and sensitivity within oneself towards another. Through that, the desire to give emerges. The idea is to develop sensitivity so we can learn how to love another person. Actually, the right way is to love another soul. What's the difference? A person close to us might do things we don't like or agree with, and we don't have to love their actions. We are only obligated to love their soul. The soul is their essence. Great way to hone this skill is within a romantic relationship. So often couples feel madly in love during the first few months of marriage, but this feeling doesn't always last. After 20 years, things can feel different. Unlike the saying, love is in the air, this isn't always the case. While some people find it easy to love their spouse, others may struggle to feel love for their partner and may even start to wonder what they saw in them in the first place. You don't need to be married to build this skill. You can also practice refining how to love with a child, parent, or any person with whom you are in a relationship. Relationships between husband and wife, or parents and children, in particular, become strained over time, making it easy to forget the love between them. We must continually remind ourselves that love exists, especially when difficult situations arise. It's easy to become so caught up in hustle and bustle of life that we forget to love the important people in our life. We must remind ourselves from time to time that we really do love those close to us. So actually a good way to cultivate that feeling of love towards a person is to help them build themselves. Because like if you have some sort of creation you make, you build a house, like if you're a carpenter, if you're a mechanic, and let's say you had a kit car and you built your own kit car, like you would love that thing. Like even people build instruments. I used to build some instruments. You know, you love the creation that you make. Software people, if you develop software or something, you're a songwriter, poet, and any of those things. You love your creations. So if you help somebody, you work on somebody to help them build themselves into something better, whether it's a child, you see this with children all the time. So if you spend a lot more time with that child, they're going to build and advance and everything. You're going to be so proud of them. The same thing with an adult or a spouse. If you help your spouse cultivate themselves and grow themselves, also giving them the space to do this too, you will feel and engender more love towards them. So, unfortunately, not all relationships are healthy and strong. For instance, many people say, I love my parents, but we have a very bad relationship. It also happens the other way around, with parents who struggle with one of their children going down a path they don't approve of. It shouldn't have to be this way, but people often remember how much they love someone close to them after they are no longer around. So all too often it takes the death of that person for them to recognize the fond memories they shared throughout the years and realize how much they appreciate that person. And that goes back to what I said from Tomer Devorah. So one of the strategies is to basically find something about that person that you really treasure and hold that memory. So like if you get upset with your kids, think about those really wonderful times you really connected with them, and the artwork that they gave you, or just all these different things. And try to hold that in your mind so that you don't get upset with them too much, or the things like that, and wreck their day and everything like that. So because if you lost that person, you would be treasuring those happy moments rather than the negative ones. The negative ones wash away in many cases. I can't say in all cases, but in many cases. So our fond memories of people are so much stronger than the negative memories we have of them typically. So in our day-to-day lives, it can be easy to forget how much we love and care for each other, since the people closest to us can often push our buttons. But when we're apart, loving messages and heart emojis are suddenly flying back and forth. Something that doesn't happen as much when we're in person. Because it's easy to forget about the love in our relationships. It's important to take a step back and remind ourselves, sometimes with a figurative smack on the head, if we want to be able to love another person, we must first arouse our desire to love them. It's hard to give love without it. So how do you know when you're not giving enough love? If sadness is present in your life, you may be showing others enough love. You may not be showing others enough love. You may wake up one morning and feel down without understanding why. While you might think the cause could stem from a lack of funds or an unexpectedly high bill, it's important to take a step back and contemplate the root cause of these negative emotions. Your bad mood likely is because your soul is unhappy. Sometimes it manifests as sadness and other times anger. Either way, your soul is telling you from deep inside that you aren't giving enough love. It's not actually about what you are receiving. We often live in a state where we think, I need to be loved, I need to be appreciated, I need to be thanked. It's all about me. But in reality, it's the total opposite. One of the many reasons people fall into a state of sadness or a deep bad mood is because they didn't give enough love that day or week. It's not necessarily because of external circumstances. So at the end of the day, we are reflections of Hashem. Avraham Avinu, a master of kindness, and that tzaddik that embodies Chesed, taught us that when he was not in a position to give, he felt sadness. For example, 3 days after his circumcision, Avraham was sitting outside his tent, feeling disheartened that he didn't have guests to share food with him. At this point, Hashem provided him with visitors so he could give and be in a state of joy again. Unfortunately, many of us tend to focus on taking instead of giving, seemingly forgetting the true purpose of life. So the purpose of life is symbiosis with everybody else, the connection with every other thing around us. And you want to try and cultivate those connections. So instead of searching for love and attention when feeling negative emotions like sadness, depression, anger, or emptiness, why not try doing the opposite, showing love to someone else? You'll find that your soul is more fulfilled when you give rather than when you take. This is a complete rule in life. If you give, you're going to feel a lot better than if you're taking. Life is going to be a lot more fulfilling. So how do we practically develop the desire to give love to another? First, we must stop thinking that to be happy we must receive from others. Replacing that way of thinking with searching for ways to give the person we love will actually enhance our love towards them. But another thing is, if somebody wants to give you something, it is very important that you allow, in most cases, that you allow yourself to be a vessel and to receive from them. Because if you don't and you push that gift away, you're robbing them of an opportunity to do a mitzvah, to express love, and that can actually hurt people too. So it's in many cases, it's just better to just be the vessel and receive the gift instead of saying, you know what, I don't need that, whatever. If you don't want it, you can always make it as a gift to somebody else, like just pass it on. Let it be a vessel that just flows through you. So, so don't worry. So how do we practically develop the desire to give love to another? First, we must stop thinking that to be happy we must receive from others, replacing that way of thinking with searching for ways to give the person we love will actually enhance our love towards them. So don't worry. You won't lose anything if you choose to give instead of take. People often focus on how much they do in a relationship and look at what they give compared to their partner as if it's a competition. This reminds me, I did put a short out just recently about the Kabbalistic idea of tithing, maaser, tzedakah. So whenever you give a tenth, it's connected to the tree of life, Kabbalistic Sefirot, tree of life, the male Kabbalistic representation of the Sefirot rather than the female representation. Hold on a second. Okay, so most people are familiar with the male tree of life, the Kabbalistic tree of life, but this is actually the female representation where it's like the layers of an onion. Okay, so the female representation is circular, but the male is the tree of life that you typically see with the Sefirot that are bunched up at the top, and then they come down. They have two sides, and there's a center, and it comes down to like Yesod Malchut at the bottom where it's like a little stem. And those connect based on it. You'll have to check out the video, but it basically, tzedakah and giving is related to the 10 emanations of the Creator. So anyway, and it corresponds with this same idea of giving. So anyway, this way of thinking is very distorted. When you stop trying to assess what each person is giving or receiving in a relationship and focus on the value you can contribute, your relationships will become much happier and healthier. This applies not just to family or romantic relationships, but also friendships, work, colleagues, and neighbors. Instead of focusing on what we can get out of a relationship, let's look at how we can give and make someone else's life a little better. Even think of it on a community scale too. How can we make our community better? How can we make our world and our nation better? The more try to work on the individual level, but once you master that individual level, expand out and try to work on the community level. Expand out. Find what you can give to a larger community and crowd. So what might get in the way of our desire to give to others? Our ego. It will persuade us that we are not being fairly treated and we're getting the short end of the stick. However, this is just an attempt of our ego to lead us to focus on getting instead of giving. So don't let it. So whether you are in a relationship or single, the lesson today is to recognize the greatness of the person in front of you. If you are married, take a moment to acknowledge your husband's or wife's amazing qualities. Firstly, be grateful they decided to marry you in the first place, and then focus on what you love about them. It's about celebrating who they are and what they bring to your journey together. So if you're single, practicing this is a bit different. Most people are looking to be loved. They think, I want to be loved. I want to have somebody around me so I can feel loved. Instead of trying to find someone who will love you, look for someone you can love and want to give to. Changing your focus from getting love to giving love will likely transform your dating life. Try to find somebody that you feel that you can work in their life. So today's homework is to identify an important person in your life and take the time to appreciate their great qualities. In relationships, we're often looking to get something, which is a problem. This is where most people fail in relationships. We can even see this with parents and kids. Some parents view their children as people who work for them. But it's important to remember that children come into our lives to make us better people. So people tend to think they love another person, but actually love what they get from them. It's not real love. Love is the desire to give and share, which Chesed is all about. So today, we're going to focus on simply developing the desire to give love to another person.